Hello and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. We are back with the plants of Mars and we are talking about this time
Hmm.
wormwood. So I'm really excited to tell you all about wormwood and hopefully if you watch the last couple of videos, you're getting a sense of how these herbs and plants are Mars related because that's the point. So let me share my screen with you. Wormwood. Here we are. And it is called Artemisia absinthinum. See if I can say it again.
Cynthium.
Absinthium. Artemisia absinthium. Thank you, Roz.
Mm.
There is the botanical drawing, and that is what AI thinks it looks like. And if you see these leaves and you think they look like some other plants that we know, they do because those other plants are in the Artemisia family. And if we don't talk about it at the end of the plant information, if I haven't written about it, I'll tell you about it. The parts used are the aerial parts, and the other names are absinthe, crown for a king, girdle of St. John, green ginger, holy seed, lad's love, madderwort, mingwort, old woman, wormot, wormseed. Oh, here we go. So this is the thing. It's often mixed up with other Artemisia species. And so like a lot of the folk names get intertwined and I tried to peel them apart. But the other Artemisia species are Artemisia vulgaris, which is mugwort, and Artemisia ludoviciana, which is white sage. Although white sage does have like that, what is it, sapia or the other sage kind of Latin name as well, but it does have one of its Latin names has an Artemisia front part. So first. So absinthium is from the word absinthial, and it means bitter. So the plant information. It is a green dye, and you're supposed to use a copper sulfate mordant. If I find a mordant for you, like I will put it in there.
What is that?
It's a mordant keeps the dye, like so it makes it. Sometimes used to use alum is a very common mordant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It sets the dye.
It sets the dye. That's exactly
it. Thank you. So it is a native to North Europe and Asia and North Africa. And it was introduced, and I say early, to North America, but I don't know what early, not as early as you might think. So it's a woody perennial with silver leaves and tiny yellow flowers. And it is much more silver than mugwort. Even though the leaves look similar, it's much silvery. It's very silvery. It's rad. It looks great. So it's used in absinthe liquor with all its fun stories. And I'm not going to tell these stories because it. Just listen to it. It's chasing the green dragon or the green fairy or the green goddess. And we're going to talk about like how and why about the absinthe liquor issue, but suffice it to say that it was thought that it was a hallucinogenic and that you would see like green fairies or goddesses or whatever when you imbibed. So there was a story written in 1912 called Absinthe, the Green Goddess. It was like a little essay, actually. And absinthe was a popular drink amongst the Bohemian French artist crowd in the late 19th and early 20th century. So these are the people that were purported to be into absinthe drinking. Ernest Hemingway, James Joyce, Lewis Carroll, Charles Baudelaire, Paul Verlaine, Arthur Rimbaud, and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. So they all like to imbibe absinthe. So let's begin in Egypt, shall we? It was found in the Ebers Papyrus in 35 BCE, and that's it. It was in there. I don't know what it said, but it was there. So the Bible talks about wormwood in the best possible way. Okay, so let's read it. Let's get down and dirty in Revelations, baby. Revelations 8, 10 through 12. The most literally accurate Bible book in the Bible is Revelation. I'm so cunty. Okay, so let's read it though. The third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that had become bitter. So Wormwood is the great star name that's going to screw everything up, right? It's going to come
yes,
raging out of the sky to destroy us all.
Huzzah!
Exactly. L'chaim.
Welcome, Wormwood.
Exactly. So, welcome. So, Russia. In Russia, they believe the herb is bitter because it absorbs human suffering from the ground. I know. Interesting. In England, though, we've turned it around, and good that we made all those toasts because they used it to toast happiness. I know, we were ahead of the game there.
Copycats.
Exactly. I know. They just know what's coming, right? So in Italy, Pliny, and I had to look up where Pliny was from, and actually Pliny is Italian, if you didn't know. Yeah, you know. So he said, if you keep wormwood in your shoe when you travel, you won't get fatigued and you'll increase your circulation. Put it in your sandal. In Mexico, the great festival to the goddess of salt is celebrated by a dance where the dancers wear a garland of what? Of wormwood. Very interesting. So in Greece, and I swear this was another one that I fought with AI. I cannot tell you why AI did not want to make a damn centaur is beyond me. It is shocking. I had to just bicker with it to get it to make a freaking centaur. No,
just do it.
Just do it. Exactly. Stop fighting. It violates something. I'm like, it doesn't violate anything.
It's not even like a person, like specific person.
Exactly. So in the Apuleius Platonicus, which is 1000 AD, it said that wormwood was discovered by Diana and then given to the centaur Chiron for health. So Pythagoras also claimed it eased childbirth. And I have a special place in my heart for the Bedouin nomadic people. They're the last nomadic people in the world. And I thought that they had settled, but as I did research, they're still nomadic. They're still nomadic in certain places in Northern Africa and whatnot. So, and interestingly enough, I'm going to go off in their culture because I love it. So they veil, the men and the women veil. Like head to toe, there's no and they're the most veiled people in the world. Like they use those gnarly veils, where you can't see. And almost the biggest reason, although cultural reasons have risen up around it, but it serves to protect them from the dust storms and from the harshness of the environment. So, like I said, the men and the women veil in the Bedouin culture. I read a book. I know. Now I'm looking for that book that I read. I think it's is it Veiled Sentiments? I don't know. Maybe it's Veiled Sentiments that discusses that a little bit. Or maybe it's Behind the Veil in Arabia. I don't know. So we'll see. Obviously, I'm obsessed with veiling. So it's used as a lucky charm incense by the Bedouin nomadic people. Now we get to absinthe and the ban. So we'll start in Switzerland. In Switzerland is where this whole thing started, right? Wormwood was the main component in absinthe, and it was introduced in Switzerland in the late 1700s, okay? So Dr. Pierre Ordinaire and it was refined in France by a maid, I don't know, what is this? Major Dubede and Henry Louis Maud. And so then in 1905, there was these murders in Switzerland. Okay, there was like they were called the Absinthe murders, and they led to the first ban of absinthe. So because they thought that it made people crazy and wild and see things, and so they blamed this set of murders on like an absinthe. And so there was all these fears over the green curse of France. And it resulted in a complete ban in the United States. And the ban for wormwood and absinthe preceded the ban for heroin and cocaine.
Oh, God.
I know. They're probably still putting cocaine in Coca-Cola. And they were banning wormwood absinthe. How silly. Anyway, that shows you how smart people are. However, France, like in the 1840s, the soldiers of the French Foreign Legion stationed in Algeria were given absinthe to ward off fevers. So now let's go to the magical properties. Shall we?
We shall.
It was a flying ointment ingredient. It was one of those named ones. It aids in the pacts with the devil, devil, dival. And I wonder about his weef, wife, woof. Like, what is my mom like? Lucretia McEvil. So Lucretia McEvil. Exactly, the devil's wife. So it's good for banishing, and you can asperge with it to get rid of antagonistic ghosts. It banishes anger. You can use it as a salve to drive away the goblins. Also, my favorite magic, mirror magic. So you can use it to return the evil to the sender.
Ooh.
I know. And it's good for metal workers. They can use it as to infuse their metal with magic by putting like it into a wormwood herbal quench their metal. I know. So it's used for protection. It's used for boundary magic, circle casting. You can cut ties with emotional parasites. Whoa, I need some of that. A pinch removes spiritual vermin. For protection, you're supposed to carry it at your waist. You can hang it on your rear view mirror to protect against accidents. I know. Cleansing. So you know what? I hear a lot about those. It's interesting. I hear a lot about like car sachets and things like that. And this is like the first herb I think that really like made it clear cut that you can use it for accidents and use it with like hanging it on your rear view mirror. So cleansing, that's another one. So we've seen it multiple times for these cleansing, protection. So it cleanses the body and the mind. It helps you to release resentments. It's also a religious herb, according to Baudelaire, obviously, because that is his, like, he's the only one that says that stuff.
Religious herb. Yeah.
Yes. He totally calls things religious herb.
He totally does.
So it's supposed to be a patron to herbalists and shamans alike. It's good for divination and prophecy. So here are some recipes. If you want to contact the dead, you can make an incense with 1 part wormwood, 2 parts myrrh, and 1 part cypress. You can throw wormwood into the fires to call on helping spirits. And so it's also used in love divination. So St. Luke's Day is October 18th. And on that day, you can take marjoram, marigold, thyme, and wormwood and dry by a fire. And then you grind that into a fine powder and simmer it in a pot with honey and vinegar. And then you're supposed to anoint yourself 3 times saying, St. Luke, be kind to me in dreams. Let my true love be seen. Okay, first of all, hello, witchcraft. Doesn't... Okay. So then for dyeing, which is not dyeing like it's like real dyeing, okay? It's supposed to ease the transition to the other world. You can use it for strength and courage. Use it for daring and fearlessness. It allows people to express their anger, which you may need. Some people have a lot of cancer in their. I'm just. So it has an affinity for the desert as well. And it's used in initiation rites. So I didn't put our little warning in here, but again, I will just give it a heads up. We are not doctors. We are herbal people who love plants. So there you go. We're just saying what we have seen. So and if you want to know where we saw all these things, you should look at my sources at the end, because my sources will tell you exactly where I get all this information. I'm not hiding any balls from you. So it's an abortifacient as well, an anthelmintic, which is it gets rid of worms, antibilious, antimicrobial, antipyretic, a bitter tonic, a carminative, a diuretic, a diaphoretic, an emmenagogue, a febrifuge for flatulence, hepatic, a nervine tonic, a refrigerant, a stimulant, and a stomachic. For digestive issues, it's good for liver complaints. So all jaundice, hepatitis, gallstones, cirrhosis, all that stuff. It relieves flatulence. It's an appetite stimulant. And the diluted oil is a digestive aid and stimulates the gallbladder. It's said to clear parasites, especially roundworm and pinworms. And for mental health. So it's supposed to relieve anxiety, and it depresses brain pain. It lifts the darkness. So if you're sad and depressed, it will lift your darkness. After you have tasted the bitterness of it, then you'll be wanting to feel happier. And everything looks less bitter when you've tasted this.
Yeah, honestly.
So externally, it's a poultice for bruises, sprains, and swelling. Joints and muscles, the old rheumatism cure. You should use a salve of it though. Oh, for menstrual cramps. Apply it to your belly. So I know. Put some wormwood on that belly. It's supposed to prevent infections. It's good for warts. And it's good in pest control as well. So it will repel insects as well as deer and rabbits if you have trouble with them eating your stuff, which if you live in that area, like deers and rabbits will decimate your food. So plant wormwood to keep them away. It's good in alcohol and drug treatment. More medical properties. So for the cold or flu. So it said that it resists poisons that build up in the body's immune system. Whatever that means. It's good for fever, viruses, chronic infections. It's supposed to clear blockages, like with especially phlegmy blockages, sinus problems, and then also women's issues. So it's good for odd vaginal discharges. Okay. Leukorrhea. Delayed menses, of course, because you can think of anything that's going to like be an abortifacient is also going to be good for delayed menses. It's going to bring on your period. So it's either by contraction or by stimulating something else. So if you want to use it for that, I found a recipe that said 10 grams of wormwood, 10 grams of sage, 10 grams of pennyroyal, and then you use honey and you mix it into a paste. And then you soak a piece of wool in the mix and you put the wool on your stomach. So this is from the Trotula, which is reporting on Galen's recipe. So this is like an ancient recipe. To speed labor, this is also what Galen's recipe. You're supposed to mix 10 grams of rue, 10 grams of mugwort, 10 grams of wormwood into 1 pint of oil with 1 teaspoon sugar. Then you're supposed to simmer that for 30 minutes, ensuring that the oil doesn't get too hot. and then you're supposed to strain it and rub over your womb. That's why I felt good giving these recipes like this, because you're not taking them internally. I don't know if I'd feel very comfortable giving some ancient recipe for speed labor. God, who knows? So for mastitis, you're supposed to mix 10 grams of mallow, 10 grams of mistletoe, 10 grams of mugwort, and 10 grams of wormwood, and you add it to grease, and then you're supposed to rub it on your nipples. Again, Galen. So it's said that wormwood is so powerful that it should not be given to people suffering with grief, shock, or people who are uncentered. And again, it's really, you should only take it internally in small doses anyway, and under the guidance of a trained herbalist or naturopath. It's really a powerful herb, and you don't want to be taking a lot of this stuff. It's very bitter, and it's very stimulating to your liver and stuff. It can really like mess you up. So there you go.
Very nice.
Here's my, take a picture. Uh-oh. Hold on. What am I doing? Okay, and we're back. Thank you for joining us on our tour of Wormwood, an herb or plant of Mars. And we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.